Okay, level twos, I'm having a go at doing my video for you, which I'm going to upload onto YouTube in a minute. I've got some notes down here, which I'm going to be looking at to make sure I stay on track. So I just thought we'd look through the week. We've not had many sessions, and we'd recap the exercises that we've done and the techniques that we've learnt and tie the two together so that in your logbook you can reflect on how an exercise has helped you learn a particular technique. So this week we have mainly been looking and re-looking at clocking, the technique of clocking. So it'd be good in your journals if you describe or discuss why clocking is a good technique. So talk about particular moments that have worked well in the performances that we've seen. So you could talk about a moment that, let me think, in one of the exercises, for example, Joe had the little owl on his shoulder here, and he looked at the owl, then looked at the audience, looked at the owl, looked at the audience, to show that he wasn't really sure about the owl sitting on his shoulder. He wasn't really keen on that. He did the same when he had the owl down in front of him and he realised that it was a lip balm. He thought that was silly. That mask thought that was a silly thing. So he looked down at the owl and then he told the audience, I'm not keen on that. It's lip balm. I'm not keen on that. So whenever you're clocking, there's a few reasons to clock. You might get the audience to look at something you want them to look at on stage. So you just keep looking at the thing you want them to look at, and eventually they'll look at it. It can take 2 to 3 clocks, or sometimes one clock will do it. One big strong clock will make the audience look at something on stage. So that's one reason, to make the audience look at something. Another very important reason to clock is to tell the audience what you think about something. So something that you see on stage, it might be 2 other characters doing something on stage, and you want to express to the audience how you feel about that moment. That's another really good reason for clocking. So make sure that you're using clocking all the time. It's not something just to do once, but you should be clocking whenever you're on stage performing in a full mask. It should be a technique that you're always thinking of. And when we start devising, we'll be building in moments to clock, very specific moments that we need to clock the audience, okay? So that's that technique. Then countermasking is the other technique that we've talked about. So make sure somewhere in your journal, if you're writing it or you're doing it on video, that you're saying what a countermask is. So let me just pause and I'm gonna find a mask to discuss.